5 days.
Right.
Good morning, everyone.
Don't ask
Welcome.
me how long it can go.
Oh, well,
Maybe.
We're ready to go.
that's scary.
What a
Just
beautiful
keep staying
day.
on hold.
I'm gonna call to order the regular meeting of the Executive Committee of the Peninsula Clean Energy Authority.
So do we know it's WestLight?
Roll call.
Atherton.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, and when I call your jurisdiction, please state your name. Atherton.
Yeah, Rick DeVoe
Thank you. Brisbane.
Colleen Mackin.
Burlingame.
Donna Colston.
Hillsborough.
Leslie Raggio.
Menlo Park.
Betsy Nash.
Millbrae.
And this one.
San Bruno.
Morning, Denise.
San Carlos. We have a farm. Thank
We have a quorum. Thank you very much. First order of business, any public comment?
None in the room and online. If you have any public comment, if you'll please raise your hand in the Zoom app. It's not just here, so.
Action to set agenda and to approve consent agenda items.
Second.
That's Anders Fung and Colleen Mackin with the second. All right. Here we are. We're moving on to our regular, sorry. Oh,
Need your vote.
gotta have a vote. Yes.
You're all in person, so I don't have to do it today.
That's fantastic.
All in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay, passes unanimously. And moving on to the regular agenda. So chair report, being that it's a little bit early, I don't have too much other than to say I had the benefit to attend the College of San Mateo's opening of the distribution hub. That's what they're kind of their acronym. Sustainability hub. So it was great. I was able to assist with cutting the ribbon with Adam Lorraine, and we had a few words, and it was great. So if you get a chance to go check it out in one of their buildings, they have a bunch of exhibits that are set up in there that is interactive, and you could take a card and see on top of the exhibit, and it will show you what happens to try to electrify your home. And it's pretty cool. So if you get a chance, take a look. That's all I have for today. And we're gonna go to item 3, our CEO report.
And then we'll take comment after that.
Yes, we will.
Cool. Well, first of all, good morning. It's really nice to see you guys in person. One of the first agenda items we will have relates to possibly shifting this meeting at least some of the time to virtual to make things a little bit easier on folks on a work day. But it's nice to see you, and it is a beautiful day. So I'm gonna just quickly run through a couple of things. There will be more to report out at the upcoming board meeting, but last week was a busy week and kind of a milestone week for some new things that we're rolling out. So first, just to let you know that we did have our first quarter all staff at the San Bruno Aquatic Center. That is a great facility. If you haven't been there, kudos. Our chair did stop by briefly. And I do also want to just thank Director Mackin for your poolside chat. And it was really, we got the evaluations back, and that presentation and the Q&A was among the top favorites. And we were also impressed with just how deeply steeped you are in the history of Brisbane and the people there and all you bring to it and all you bring to us. So thank you for that.
You would have had to get the hook if you'd let me go on.
No, I mean, we all thought it was just great. And it was nice, just nice to get to know people too, and know you a little better too. So I also want to acknowledge the ribbon cutting for the Sustainability Hub. PCE has been a major sponsor of that effort over, I think it's been the past 5 years or so, as it's been in development over time. So we've been very proud of that, and I do want to appreciate Chair Dina for going to cut the ribbon. I think Adam Lorraine also came for a while as the mayor there. So apparently that was a very successful event. I unfortunately was not there because Mark and Vieti and I were down in Los Banos that same evening for our annual briefing to the council, as well as the first JPA amendment to shift our name to WestLight Energy. I am really just so happy to report that we have a very supportive council down there.
That's so good.
We turned that around and the mayor is just solid and a real champion for PCE. So we felt really good about that. We had our inaugural community, why am I spacing on this name?
Feedback for.
Thank you, Community Feedback Forum, led by Kirsten and Vanessa. I do want to just acknowledge Vice Chair Ragsdale for being down there. We also had Supervisor Mueller and Patrick Bo Johnson from our board. So lots of representation there. And I think that everyone was just very happy with how that turned out. Over 100 people, right?
70.
70 at the end, okay. So about half in the room and half on Zoom, as I understood it. Many different breakouts, lots of Spanish speaking participation. And so felt like it was a great way to kick off the new model for us. So congratulations, Kirsten. Thank you for that. Good job. And then we've had a legislative working group. We've changed the subcommittee moniker to working group, just to make sure that people understand that those are staff led, not board led. There's no confusion about Brown Act or any of that. So we have had a legislative, marketing, and then today we have a procurement working group meeting this afternoon to talk about a whole number of things. A number of you will be on that this afternoon. So thanks everybody for your participation. Did just briefly want to let you all know that as we move toward the rollout of our 10-year anniversary schedule of events, we are looking at an honorary and a host committee, honorary committee and a host committee. Honorary would be all past chairs of PCE. I believe you've received a phone call. I'll be talking to you later. And so really, I think there's six folks plus Jan Pepper. We're hoping to include her on the honorary. And then the host committee would be the board of directors. So hopefully that all squares with you all are familiar with how that works. Your names will be on invitations and things like that. You don't have to do anything, or you can do lots, whatever you choose. So we'll do a briefing on that soon. 9 board members have registered for the Cal CCA conference. So to those of you here who are coming, terrific, but really that's a nice shift from previous years. We still only have one for the CAISO tour, but there's time. So that's my brief report, and I think we'll go to public comment.
Take any public comment on those 2 previous items? No one in the room and no one in Zoom, so we're good to move forward.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I have a comment on the community feedback forum. Fantastic. Just, it was, I mean, I was hopeful, but you're like, it's the first one, it's half of the day. Oh my God. It was exactly, I mean, so much better than I envisioned, but you guys did a great job, super smooth. And I felt that I wasn't on the Zoom, but the impression that I got is that the Zoom people got the right amount of attention in person. I didn't feel that an in-person person that attention was taken away from the room because of the Zoom. I thought you and Vanessa handled that division of labor really well. And the combination of what is PCE and who are we with the meat of the presentation, solar, fixed solar and portable solar, and then the breakout groups. I've been to a lot of awkward breakout groups in my day. These were the opposite of awkward. They were perfect. And I felt that in the group that I was in, the people were so happy to be heard. And Peter, and you were in that for a part of it. I know you went around to the different ones, but Peter was so good at leading it and gave out his card to everyone afterward. And people really felt heard. And where else is that going to happen? Because they're not going to come to our exec meeting on Zoom or in person and say, I had a big trouble getting solar for my house, but here they did, and they were heard, and people talked about successes and challenges. And anyway, just fantastic job.
And I should say thank you for that. There were probably 7 or 8 staff members who went down.
Yeah.
Gwen, Kristen, where you might have been down there, not this time. Anyway, just a kind of a collection of staff members who volunteered to give the presentation on the content, but then also volunteer facilitators for the breakouts.
Yeah.
And so I just also felt like that was people didn't have to be voluntold, they volunteered, and I think that was great, so I do wanna say thanks to both of you. Thank you.
How are we gonna publicize these in the future?
Yeah, so this one we publicized through our community-based organization partners.
Hmm.
Since it was in Half Moon Bay, the city of Half Moon Bay put out a notice in their city manager newsletter. I believe Supervisor Mueller volunteered to put out a notice in his newsletter since unincorporated county is that'll get because of power outages. We also sent an email to a selected part of our email list as well, folks we thought would be most potentially interested, as well as people who just signed up to get notices for our board meetings. We definitely included them in that list. So that's how we did advertising for this one. I think that worked pretty well.
Can I just ask, I mean, I understand, especially Half Moon Bay, community-based, because it's not easily accessible over the hill, blah, blah, blah. Are we trying at any of these in the future to get a broader area?
Yeah, so because it was on Zoom, the email announcement went out to all of our customers, a subset of all of our customers, but not geographically, as geographically constrained. We did blast it to our entire email list, which is huge. But we did target, I think Chris was saying more about the targeting. Jack, would you like to say something about the targeting?
Sure, yeah.
Something else too?
Yeah, so, excuse me, for this time around, we decided to, like Kirsten said, target folks we thought would be most likely to come. So those who be most likely impacted by power outages. Moving forward, we do intend to incorporate it into our monthly e-newsletter. So that will go to all of our most engaged contacts, about 100,000 people. But for this time around, given kind of the timing, we thought this would be a good way to both reach people who are most likely to attend, not overwhelm our list, so to maintain the health of our email list. And also, that's my last point, but one other channel we did do was social media as well. So also on Nextdoor and targeting different areas that way too.
Director Coulson?
Thank you. Did former CAC members join?
Yes.
Okay,
there were a
good.
few.
Oh,
So how many
Yes.
did we have?
About 4, I think.
Hmm.
Or and Mateo helped us with the Spanish language outreach
Good.
in Half Moon Bay, which was fantastic. He's one of our former CUC members. He also works for El Concilio and he does outreach in that area anyway. So
Great.
so he got the Spanish speakers out. We only had a handful out, but it was a good start. We did have a glitch we had in Spanish interpretation in the room simultaneous with like little headsets and so on. And we had it on Zoom. There was a little glitch in the audio for the Zoom interpretation that we heard about from one of our participants. So we'll have to go to the vendor and just find out what happened there and do a better job monitoring that in the future. So, but that was the only glitch I know.
Okay.
Yes, Aurelio was there and he helped, of course, with the outreach. Remy Tan was there from Pacifica. John McKenna was there from Menlo Park in person. There was
Joseph, is that?
yes, Joseph
Yes.
Chen. Joseph
Yeah.
Chen was there as well,
And
and maybe others on Zoom. I don't know.
Did they give good, I mean, did you follow up with them or?
Yes, I think
Okay.
they were pleased. They were
Okay,
very
good.
pleased.
Good,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I don't know if there's a way that we wanna, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to get a feel for if it's appropriate to like maybe send out anything to the former CAC board members, just saying thank you to these 4 that came. We really appreciated it. It was really engaging. I don't know if we
It's a
wanna.
good idea. It's a good idea.
I'm just trying to figure, like, we look forward to having you at our next one, just so they're getting a little bit of, just a few to start, just so that they feel transitioned in a little more.
And they were engaged you had a planning session with them.
I had 2 planning sessions.
Yes, so they
Okay.
were engaged up front.
Yeah, so the same time that the CAC used to meet, I sent out an invitation to all the former CAC members saying, if you want to meet on Zoom and talk about the community feedback forum, help us plan it. And a few showed up and helped us plan so we did that in January and we did that again in February.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Kristen. You guys did a really nice job on that.
Director,
Next one is.
Yeah, we are looking to do the next one the first week in May, I think May 6th more or less, but we're still pinning down the date at the ROC in what's that stand for? It's the emergency response room in the county. So downtown Redwood City, very transit accessible. And the theme we're looking at is community climate action for this one. And so our target audience for this is actually, folks who've been involved with PCE over the years. It's a little bit of a lead up to our 10-year celebration. But we really want to hear from folks who've been really involved in community action, community climate action. What information do they want us to share? And this actually comes from a conversation we had with the CAC last year on sharing information around reach code analysis. And in the end, we agreed on what we should be sharing more publicly, and it made sense. But it kind of opened my eyes that we may be sitting on information that's not on our website that our community may be interested in putting on the website. And the folks from the county sustainability department are actually very interested in the same question. So I've been working with them on the research questions. They'll be very much involved. We thought about co-sponsoring with the county, thought that was a little much in the end, but we're definitely kind of like collaborating on the research questions so that both we and our friends at the county sustainability office can understand a little more what our community wants from us in terms of information.
Director Nash, did you have?
I would love to see more presence on our PCE website of these forums. Just so we can point people to that and highlight, because I think even if people aren't specifically interested in that topic, it's so good for people to know that this is happening and they can always join and to sort of keep their eyes on what are the new topics that they might be interested in.
That's great. That's a great point. Adding that.
One of the things that Director Nash has brought up before, this probably is for Kirsten when, is, don't let me put words in your mouth, but I feel like you talked before about a community calendar of events.
Yes.
It's, we wouldn't be asking Michael to track every event happening all over the service territory, but at least getting ours somewhere in a clear drop down that's easily accessible, that lists all of our events, because we know when they are. And it does require Michael to, probably regularly go and update that, but I would love to see that added. As well.
agree.
Does that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, sounds
It
good.
would be great.
Excuse me.
Sure,
Through the chair.
of course.
It would be great too on the calendar if you could sort, if there was a way, like I know a lot of calendars will allow you to sort, you could sort by location, so you type in Burlingame and everything in Burlingame would come up, or you could type by community feedback form, CFF or whatever, and all those would come up. It just board meetings, it would just be nice to be able to sort through so people who have a specific agenda they're looking for, like, it's usually pretty easy to do that.
Thank you, Bess.
Thank you very much. Any more comments?
I just wanted to, there's so much amazing stuff going on here to publicize it and just let everybody know that it's just incredible how much you're all doing. Really amazing.
It's actually fun. Most of the time.
Interacting with the public, of course,
It is, good job.
just stay off of next door a little bit, that kind of gets kind of interesting.
Don't drown in that.
Yeah, right. All right, so we had public comment on that and we had a pretty good discussion. So on to item 4. The Executive Committee approval of remote meetings pursuant to Senate Bill SB 707 and discussion of in-person meeting cadence for 2026. This is an action item.
And I believe Jen is leading this.
Good morning, directors. Thank you for the time this morning. You'll probably recognize this explanation SB 707 from the Board of Directors meeting there we are. In January, the board went ahead and approved allowing the executive committee and the audit and finance committee the ability to engage SB 707 to meet remotely. So what we are presenting again on today is essentially asking the executive committee if they would like to take an action to be able to meet remotely. Again, this is not a mandate that every meeting has to be remote, but it does give us the option without having to qualify under another category, which in the past has been known as the emergency exceptions or travel, etc. So we can see the next slide here.
There we go. Go ahead, Jen.
All right, so the executive committee just has to go ahead and vote to approve this ability to meet remotely. And then we're going to have a discussion about how we would like to, if that's approved, how we would like to meet and the calendar for some in-person meetings where we would all come together like we are today. Any questions?
Okay.
No questions? No. Is there a recommended?
I think someone needs to call for a motion.
But first, we should take public comment.
Yes, we shall. There's nobody here. There's nobody online. So no public comment. All right,
Need a motion.
we need a motion.
So moved. Second.
First by DeGolga, second by Director Fung. All in favor? Aye. Any against? All right, unanimous.
Now take the second one.
The second one, so now a committee discussion on a self-selected cadence for in-person meetings.
If you want that.
Sid.
So what that means is, this body can choose to go remote, starting with the next meeting if you want.
Got it.
Or you could say once a quarter, we'd like to meet, or twice a year, whatever it is. We would love to know kind of what your preference is so that we can actually get it on the schedule and post it and people are clear about where we're at.
Can I clarify the question? Okay, so if we're meeting remote, there's no special anything anyone has to do. You just notify the meeting remote. We don't have to say where we are or what we're doing or any of that.
Right.
That's accurate, yes.
Okay,
And my understanding is we have to approve this every 6 months. Is that right, Jen?
Yes.
so compared to if we are gone, someone's gone and we meet in person without the remote option, that person has to provide the post 3 days in advance.
No,
No more?
no more.
So if
that's
we're
great.
meeting, if we're meeting in person and someone can't attend in person live, what do they do?
Jen, do you want to take it? Sorry.
No, they can attend remotely if we, because of the
Well, I
policy
understand,
we've just established.
But. Oh,
Sure.
okay. So, but what I'm trying to understand is, do you have to declare the meeting is gonna be a remote meeting?
No.
So anyone can just attend or not attend, right?
But Sean's asking what we want as a policy. Do we want to encourage people to come to meet in
Right.
person and how
I
often?
understand that, and that's what I'm trying to get to.
So let's let Jen answer the questions, like,
I interviewed Jen.
and that'd be great, so that we have it very, very clear.
Yes, that is accurate, that there's no posting or notification requirement. So anyone, based on our vote that we just had, anyone who wants to attend a meeting remotely can do so. We will also have an open public forum where you're sitting right now, open for the meeting as well. So that will not be closed at any point.
So if this board decides that they want to say once a quarter, we're going to meet in person, but a member of the committee can't, it's still okay, right? If they can dial in remote.
Absolutely.
So it's just voluntary. If there's a voluntary desire to meet in person, but it's not required.
Okay, so we have Director Fung and then Director Mackey.
So what it sounds like is the two meeting format. One is the online format, which once a month. And then the second format is a hybrid meeting, which people are encouraged to be here because we want that human interactions, the face to face. And for those who are not able to make physical appearances, we show up on Zoom.
That's right.
Right.
That's it.
We get to decide if it's once a month, but, right, so whatever that cadence is, we get to decide that now.
This lobby and boardroom will be open every month. I will be here to welcome members of the public and any committee members who would like to come in person. So if you guys want to come and have a cup of coffee with me in the morning, I will be here.
Coffee cakes.
We usually get a cake over here, but someone forgot.
That's all.
We're not the chair anymore.
Oh.
Morning.
Shots fired, shots fired.
I don't know why I bring this.
See that coming, did you?
No, it's okay, it's all right, it was on the side, it wasn't in the back, it was all good. So what, I'm sorry, Colleen, go ahead.
So if we declared, I believe, Director Ragsdale had suggested maybe we consider 4 meetings a year in person, just because it does seem to promote a certain cohesiveness. Would there be a requirement when we declare those in-person meetings for a quorum present?
Go ahead, Jen. Sorry. It's not my item.
Nellie and I are both so steeped in this that we're so excited to answer. There's no quorum in-person quorum requirement. So they've obliterated that pesky requirement.
Through the chair.
Yes.
So we could either say once a quarter, starting in January and, we really hope everyone comes in person. Or we could say status quo, the coffee and Nellie and Brianna and maybe cake are here. And the
By
vast,
the way, the nice chair can bring it too.
I do live closer to the cake. And the vast public that is here. We could not declare any meetings mandatory in person, but just, if you can make it in person, please come in person. But this way, if you're not feeling well, you're traveling or whatever, or you have, work, right? Then you can pop on remotely. So we don't necessarily have to declare, say, 4 mandatory. We could go the other route and say not mandatory, but as opposed to, I know staff is remote first, we would be in person first. But hey, just if you can come by Zoom, please come by Zoom.
Director Matthew?
I think there's something to be said for, especially when you add new people, to having an in-person, so everyone, they kind of feel the integration. A Zoom meeting is so different.
Director.
For those of us who sit on 2 of these committees, like that go back and forth, it would be very awkward if it was like this one was in person and that. I really like Leslie's idea. And if you were going to have, like, these are not gonna be mandatory in person. I like this sort of try to get here if you can idea. I would suggest that you look at like sort of June, July, August, the summer months, are the ones that are a little more difficult. I think people on vacation, and maybe December, so it doesn't have to be like a rhythm or a cadence. It could be more around if we just know that everyone's can't be here because everybody's on vacation or at school graduations or things. Then maybe, it's a little more work for staff, but I like your sort of feeling. That's what I would prioritize, and then I would secondarily move to
And we could try it for 6 months and then it's awkward and actually it's just me, Nellie and Brianna and big cake
Yeah.
every time and we're not feeling it. And Sean. And then in 6 months, we say, all right,
Right.
everyone seemed to choose the remote
Right.
option, then we could, because I prefer in person, but I don't have a day job. So it's different. Like I know we lost, Mayor Lorraine because it was just too hard and that's a loss because he's a great board member. And so I don't want to lose people. I like giving them that option, but I think we will get a lot of people in person. So I don't know, we can try it for 6 months and then we have to reassess anyway, it sounds like.
All right, Director, go, and then back to you.
Well, first, I think it's an enormous benefit for us that people are going to be able to meet remotely and not be required to be here, because that will make it possible for people who couldn't otherwise be here to attend. And that's a huge benefit. It's something we advocated for 2 or 3 years ago, coming off of the COVID pandemic, and I'm really glad that it's gone through. I think the requirements that we have to satisfy it are manageable, and I think Jen laid that out quite clearly. I think since we haven't had executive committee meetings remotely, we don't really know what it's going to be like to have them remotely. And I think we'll find out. So I think what Leslie said is right. We'll just have to see how it goes and make our judgments. But I think some planning here to have meetings as much as possible in person, and some people won't be able to attend in person, and that's fine. This enables them to attend remotely. I think that's great, but I also like being with people where we can really have more direct contact than being online, but I don't really know how it's going to go until we experience it.
Okay, we have a hand up over there.
Just to kind of bookend that comment, while we need to review it every 6 months, we certainly can agendize another discussion about Cadence once we have that under our belts, a few meetings under our belts.
Yeah, I think that I talked a lot to Director Lorraine when he was trying to participate remote, and the really egregious situation was having to post 3 days in advance, having to post while you're having the meeting, having to let the public in. And that those onerous details by moving to this structure might make it more easy, might make it easier for some people who have work. They could just take their lunch earlier or something like that. So I would fully support that, and then hopefully, so there might be more people who could join.
Exactly. Anybody else?
Nelly.
I have one quick question.
Natalie, did you have something?
No.
She was catching up.
Oh, okay. I have a question that I'm going to ask of Jen, but for the benefit of all of us. And that is, we are clear that every 6 months, this needs to show up on the board of directors agenda, right, Jen? Not just executive committee. Correct?
Yes, that is accurate.
All right, and so, great. So since we did that in January, that will come up again in, I think we're going to try and go dark in June. So excuse me, in July. Pursuant to what we've done in the past. So it would show up on the June agenda consent. And then, so I think what I would request is for the chair and vice chair to bring up this cadence discussion, sometime, maybe August, whenever it's right, to then just do a check on what you all want to do. Okay. So we'll just keep going until you tell us otherwise. Is that fair?
Through the chair,
Sure, of course.
and maybe, I don't want to add more work for Nellie and Brianna, but maybe we could experiment with, since it's not an official notice, just when Nellie sends us the agenda, ask, hey, if you know, no pressure, but if you're going to be in person or remote, let us know, just for,
How many donuts we have to get?
how many donuts,
We don't need to bring two.
coffee, exactly. So just, if we could just let Nellie know, again, you don't have to stick up the notice or anything, but if it turns out, oh, for some reason, we're all gone in May, who knew? Then Nellie would at least we would just know that's gonna be a big remote meeting.
Yeah.
And so just so I have clarification on what I'm doing, we're pretty much proceeding as normal in person if you can make it, and if not, then you don't have to worry about posting it and you take it remotely.
That's
And then
it.
let me know if you're gonna
Yes.
be here or not, so I can plan the appropriate amount of morning snacks. Okay. Deal.
And I'm happy to go back to getting. It just, the time change took me a little by surprise. My husband forgot to reset the real clocks.
Oh, yeah. All right, that's a great discussion. Thank you, everybody. Life happens, and then if you can't make it, now you have an option to go ahead and remotely check in. So that's great. Item number 5, with the clicker moving forward, we're having a fiscal year 27 budget discussion.
Yeah, this is gonna be quick. It's more of a public service announcement, just to update you all on the budget process, which is officially kicking off now in March. Typically what we do, it's a 3-month process that ends with board approval at the end of June. Between now and then, there's a lot of work that goes on internally on my team to work with all the department heads to understand what the needs are of the organization for various operating costs. To push back appropriately, to understand where we can save costs, where we need to spend money. There's also a process to forecast load, which drives how much revenues we collect. And we use all that, we put it in the system, there's a lot of iteration that goes on, and we come up with a recommended budget that we take to the board. This year, I wanted to just give everyone a heads up. We are entering somewhat of a challenging year, but we're well prepared, so it's not a challenge that we're not up to meet. But hopefully everyone's aware that we are, over the next few years, gonna be in a period of depressed or less revenue than we've collected over the last few years. And so this is a graph that I put up. I thought it was big enough, but the numbers seem small from here. The bars are the electricity revenue that we have been collecting for the last 4 years, so fiscal 22 through fiscal year 25. And then I've included here 5 years of forecast. The forecast is just a placeholder for now. We haven't set anything. That'll be a board exercise to set rates and to approve the budget. But just for argument's sake, we are assuming in this forecast that we are maintaining a 5% discount to PG&E. We don't have to, maybe it's even more of a discount, but we need to put something into the model. And I think the takeaway here on the bars you can all see is over the last few years, we've enjoyed revenues north of $400 million. Going forward, that number is gonna be less, sort of in the 3 to 375 range. We're gonna be supplementing that revenue, which is less than historical, with cash that we've been collecting over the last few years in our rate stabilization fund. So again, we're well prepared for this, but it's just something that we're now entering this sort of new normal. Operating costs here is the green line that I've graphed. Again, historical. The forecast is again just a placeholder. We have not set costs. But the message here is the last few years we've had to invest pretty significantly in our operations, human capital, putting in place, buying software, putting in place structure, contracting. And so that's sort of a historical growth that we expect to taper off going forward. And so right now we've forecasted here, for argument's sake, a 5% inflation on operating costs. Inflation anywhere runs from around 3%, and then there's a little bit premium to that. And that is just sort of how we're thinking about the budget going forward. So the historical perspective that we've had, where we've been spending to catch up, those days are sort of over. And sort of our really focus over the next few years is to maintain a growth in costs in line with inflation on average. We're gonna have some peaks and valleys. A lot of our costs are driven by the programs, so that sort of goes up and down. And so there may be one year where it's higher than 5%, one year that it's less, but on average, we're really hoping to target that 5%. As I mentioned, on the staff side, we've really invested over the last few years. We're at 68 today. We don't expect that to increase at all or significantly over the forecast period. And then we're gonna look really carefully at our programs. There's gonna be a deep dive into the effectiveness of our programs. That's where we have a pretty big spend, and so we want to make sure that we're really being very prudent in where we spend our money in that area. And so this is just to give you all a heads up on sort of the future. There'll be a lot more to come, but given we just kicked it off basically this month, thought I'd share where we are.
Director
I just
Mackin.
have a comment I wanted to share, and I don't know if you all, what your news sources are, but in the morning I listened to KCBS and I really enjoyed hearing about a week ago, and they were talking about PG&E with their discounts right now and the rates are down. And they noted that they have no less than 4 requests to the CPUC for rate increases. So it was a little tongue in cheek and I went, oh, someone's on the ball there.
Yes.
Can I just add on? I want to say thank you, Nick.
Of course.
for bringing this. Just, this is all in the service of keeping the executive committee fully apprised of what we're up to. I also want to flag that the staff is fully aware of sort of the new normal. We've talked about it now for several months. This is not new news, but it's kind of what we're talking about is steady state. Really moving into this year is a big year for us, sort of rounding out growth and change. We're managing well through that change, I have to say, so far. But then really just looking at, okay, not having major bumps up in expenditures with the obvious exception of the energy market. As you all know, we have limited control over that, but I will say, like the last several years, through your guidance and with Roy and everybody, we're getting ever closer to really narrowing that variance in load forecasting, because that costs us a bundle when you go out and buy and then you miss your forecast. So we're really focused on that as well as a steady state on operating costs. The asterisk is that if we do receive third-party funding from the state for the microgrid and for energy efficiency, which we're hopeful we will, that would precipitate likely some staff growth to run those programs. But that would be all funded through external revenues. So that's the only asterisk there, and that's TBD at this. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I have a question. So the dark blue line shows electricity revenue. Doesn't show other revenue. Just confirming that.
Yep, this is just because that's so lumpy and it sort of can confuse the messaging. But there's not a lot. Electricity revenue is on average maybe 98% of our revenue. We have some programs revenue that we collect, GovPV, all of the San Bruno.
An investment revenue.
Right.
And it excludes investment income. That's a good point, yeah.
And as a percentage, and the expense line that we show there is the total expense line.
No, that is just operating, it's total operating expense, which is basically everything except for the cost of energy.
I understand,
Yeah.
but it would include the expenses that would be covered by revenue that would reimburse us for certain expenses like the CPUC
Yes,
program.
correct.
So in fact, the operating expense line is not completely adjusted for the other revenue. Well, it's only 2% of our total revenue. It's probably a slightly higher percentage of our expense that it's covering.
Yes, and I will say most of the costs associated with the other revenue that you're referring to is capitalized. And so that wouldn't even show up on the income statement. So it gets a little confusing. So like our on-bill financing program, our GovPV, where we invest a lot of money to build the PV system, that's not an operating expense. It's a capital expense.
And would that be true with the microgrid program? It would be
I believe
capitalized?
so, yeah, capitalized.
Okay,
But
yeah,
not
that,
energy efficiency.
Not energy efficiency, but big steel or typical is what we capitalize. Equipment.
but that's fairly significant then if it's capitalized,
Yeah.
that's different treatment, okay.
Maybe just really quick.
Yes.
Sean, did you see John Dugan just sent in, is he participating virtually? He seems to be.
No.
He seems to be in the
Waiting room?
waiting.
Oh,
No,
can you question it?
Oh, he's in the public forum.
Yes, and he is not able to participate today because we didn't pass SB
Okay.
707
Oh,
in that way, so he is observing
Okay. I
as
just wanted
though
to.
you were watching a recording of this meeting.
Perfect. John,
Yes.
we just wanted to acknowledge that we know you're here. We thank you. Sorry about the confusion.
Always trying.
Right? Okay.
He
This
can't,
just-
he can't shift now that we've passed the,
No, it has to go through their,
okay.
has to go to the full board.
It didn't.
So this is acceptable.
Sorry, he just texted me.
All right.
Sure. So they would just be from a member of the public. at a minimum.
I think we should let our council opine on this.
He can't participate remotely at this time, but he can remain as a member of the public as director. I believe it was Fung suggested.
So there's a question that could be submitted.
So he's not ceasing to be a member of this executive committee. So if he's participating and submitting questions, that's a little bit different. I would prefer not if it can be held until the next meeting.
Okay. Never argue with your counsel, right? I think I learned that. So is there any other discussion? Thanks, Nick. This is great. I really appreciate that growth phase, and now we're getting steady state, as you said. So appreciate it.
Sure. It's new normal for us.
Yeah.
Okay, next topic. Nellie and I are going to tag team here. I'll actually probably ask Nellie to take the lead since you've been running point on design. But
like, what?
we wanted to give you all an update on a really exciting project. Not that the other topics aren't exciting, and that is our new, beautiful, soon-to-be beautiful office at 400 South El Camino Real. You're looking at me.
And I'm sorry, did we take public comment on
Oh,
the last
sorry.
item?
No.
No problem. So just double checking for public comment, sorry, Nick, on budget item.
Right.
If anyone from the public, there are members of the.
Can I
public
offer
online.
this? If we're here and nobody came in from the public and nobody logged into the
Oh,
public.
no, the
She
people
can-
are logged in from the public.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is,
She
all
can
you can
see
see
them.
here are the people who are participating in the meeting. The public is here.
I'm
We
sorry.
have members.
Got it.
Online,
So-
yes.
Stand corrected. Public comment, please.
Yes, if any members of the public would like to give comment on the budget item, please raise your hand in the Zoom platform. I'm seeing none. Now, Nick,
Okay,
take it away.
now you ruined my spiel.
Item 6.
My beautiful new office. Anyway, again, this is just a discussion item, but wanted to bring you into the fold, give you an update on where we are. Nellie would love for you to jump in here, but this is the reminder, it's the full floor on the 14th floor at 400 South El Camino Real. We hired a architectural firm who specializes in commercial offices to help us design the floor plan to meet our needs, as well as help us sort of finish it out with the floor, the ceiling, which will give you some visuals in a second. This is coming.
I'm gonna help out with that.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. Sorry, Nick, we're ready.
Oh, no.
So just to give you some centralization on what's going on here, because I think that will help with future slides as well.
Oh, you got the little pointer.
Oh, it doesn't show up on the TV. Okay, directing you to the back wall here, which might be visible online as well. So these 4 gray boxes in the center of the building are the elevator, and so this is the kind of walk in the elevator, and this is the way that you'll enter the space. This space in green here, we're identifying kind of as our public space. This large area, of course, will be our new boardroom. And the reason we're calling this the public space is when we have the boardroom, people will be able to come up the elevator and into this space. Much as it is here, the workspaces for staff are kind of behind doors. We keep them open because we're in such a small space. But for our future meetings, this door and this door will be an access space for the staff workplaces, which are going to be here in the blue. We've got 8 offices that are in this space. In our current building, we only have 7 offices, so we're including an extra office. But the big improvement is these conference rooms. Currently, we have 2 conference rooms plus this room, which used to convert. We don't really convert it anymore because of the cameras and the difficulties in doing that. When this space became a hybrid space, it became more difficult to convert. So really 2 conference rooms, and so we're increasing that number to 5, which we found is a really big staff need. So that's a big change. And then we're also have space for another huddle room. It could become an office. It could become a proper conference room. Really, we're just envisioning it as a table and chairs for people to be able to pop in as needed. So kind of flexible what will happen there. We are including an all gender restroom in this area. as well as a wellness room, which would double as a mother's room, which is currently not in this space and I think would be helpful to our future staff. Let's see, other things to note in here, the potential for some phone booths. Staff in visiting other CCAs have encountered these phone booths and found them, to be really great and wonderful. And so, we hear they're pricey, so we'll probably start with one and see, how much they get utilized here in our space.
You want to mention, I think the boardroom is a huge improvement. We've got this column here, it's not large enough.
No columns, I mean, a column over here along the window, but that's not in our way.
But we, I think it was hard to find a place that we felt could house a 30-person boardroom. We also, a nice to have, which we're able to do in this space, is we're gonna be able to host our all staff. As Sean mentioned, we had our all staff, it was at the beautiful San Bruno Rec Center, but from going forward, once we have the space, we'll be able to do that in-house, which saves money and a lot of logistical challenges. And so we have that dotted line there is a movable wall that's gonna be easily movable. It'll be closed most of the time for the boardroom, but on those 4 times a year, or maybe when we have larger audiences come in for the community, we'll be able to open it up and have a large 100-person or so all staff area. So that'll be a big improvement from what we have there.
What's the little centipede thing?
Here?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that.
It's a little jungle gym, it looks like.
Okay, so.
Wait, can I ask you a question before
Yes.
you read that slide? What, the whole, is it open
Here?
space down below?
That's workstations.
Yeah, these will become workstations.
Those are
So
workstations,
we,
okay.
we kind of know what the furniture is going to look like here. And I'll dive into that section a little bit further. Because there's some flexibility in what we're putting in that space. Okay, so the inspiration when we worked with R&W, just kind of here on the screen,
Andres had
textures. Oh, sorry.
So the boardroom, where's the public gonna sit? Those little circles, those are the columns or are those tables?
Here, these are little laptop tables or little tables where people can put papers or
And
things
that's where the
down.
publics are gonna sit?
Yep, public will sit there.
no,
We
no.
can also move in some of these chairs along the glass line as well.
Because, but hold on though, really quick, that wall will be closed for a board meeting, will it not?
Yeah.
Cause that's
I
our
think he's
kitchen.
talking about the circles on the long of those.
These circles up here are little laptop tables. These are
Oh,
break room tables.
That's kitchen.
Yeah, this is the break room, but the chairs could be repurposed and brought in here. There's enough space to put them against the window, the removable wall. The wall will be shut, but the chairs can go along the window if we need extra backup seating as well.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's the public seating capacity?
I haven't counted it, but
24 at the table.
It'll be more than this.
20 at sides.
No, the public plus board member Gonzalez.
Yes.
Prefers those
Yes.
seats.
Yes, maybe you won't in this case. We'll have to see. Maybe they'll like this table.
If necessary, that wall will open up and we
Yeah.
can do additional
Yeah.
seating.
Yeah,
If there's a
certainly.
huge.
And we're gonna get to this, but the other sort of principle that we have is that it's not a fixed board table, right? And so pretty much it's like living on a boat. Everything has more than one function. So tables can move. We're using things that, have a double or triple bottom line.
The plan will not be to use this same equipment that requires that like lock in the space. The plan will be to have cameras that are mounted above. That, first of all, when you're watching online, won't be jumping all around. So it'll be more stationary cameras, which should allow us more flexibility in moving things around.
I have a question.
Yes.
Pretending this was a conference room, it seems like there's gonna be public sitting on this side, that side, and
Behind you.
behind. And my preference is that the public kind of be all in one area if possible. And it seems like we have that option here. It's just awkward for, I would say, the public to be on this side, and it's kind of like there are times you need to do something and you're checking something, and how far away is the public gonna be looking at your laptop? And it's just not gonna say, I guess I will say it, for security, it's just a little bit better for there to be a physical separation. So with that wall being adjustable, that as we're looking at it now, I think my preference is that we would be thinking to have the public in one area and then having,
It's almost like the public is at the opening of the U shape, even though this is not a U shape. But you could seat the public where those kitchen tables are right now.
Right.
In rows, just sort of like we have here. Okay, we'll
Although
play with it.
there's a lot of staff too, so one wall could be.
Yeah.
yeah, the one
staff.
side could be the staff on the side, yeah.
Yeah.
right,
There's
right.
other
Beautiful
wall
part.
could be,
You know what?
you know what,
We have
That's the
much
building.
more room,
Yeah.
so we can play with it.
Yeah.
You will have room.
and
Yep, so go ahead.
And I was gonna ask that question, where's the staff gonna sit? Are they gonna sit on the side or are they gonna sit on the board table?
on the sides, apart from our C-suite and general counsel, will sit at the board table. Which is what we do now. Except for at these smaller executive committees where there's more seats,
So
staff
would-
sits at the table.
So would it be fair to say that as it works out, as the current floor plan, the way it is, one side would be for the public, the other side would more like be the staff? And then the board table would be in the middle? I mean, how is it gonna likely to work out in the end?
We haven't been that formal in the past. And so here's what I'd love to do. We have time.
Mhm.
And I think we can figure these things out, but the feedback is good. And I do think that it's probably along the perimeter there, likely to be staff. And then what I hear you saying is for the public, perhaps then, we do theater seating, moving into the
Right.
kitchen area. But let us get there and then, sort of work those
Sure.
details.
And it's just, I always found it awkward that there's a speaker right here and we're kind of, our back is to here and we're kind of like here, so it would be, is the podium gonna be out there like in front so we can all have a direct line?
Yeah, so the
Sorry.
plan for the podium is to be, out to the
Oh,
corner,
nice.
so it'll still be a little bit behind somebody, but the main screen will be right here, so having the podium next to the screen will generally for all but, maybe 4 people be completely accessible in the right line of sight. So those who are early to the meeting and on time will get the good seats with the good view, and then if not, you might have to turn your neck a little bit.
And there'll be a screen at the bottom.
Yeah, we will have a secondary screen down here as well.
Leslie?
Just a question, what is the difference between a huddle room and a conference room?
So, conference room, we're planning to have, hybrid equipment in there, so camera, speaker, microphones, the TV. A huddle room is really just the 4 walls and a table, place to sit and jump in. We're, with conference rooms, they have to be bookable, and so we book those, online through our calendars. The huddle room, I think this is all in flux. Speaking hypothetically, I would not have the huddle room be bookable. Maybe it's somewhere where people can just quickly pop in.
Just run
But this is all,
We got a lot of feedback from staff that if they're gonna drive in or when they drive in, they wanna work with others and
Mhm.
collaborate. So they wanted enough space. So we really tried to get as much collaboration space, group
Mhm.
space as possible.
yeah.
And also
And-
the offices can be reused. People aren't in those. It's-
Yeah. And if we need another office, that's the first
It
one
could
that
be.
goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's, we have a lot more flexibility and we didn't want to overbuild so that if it needs to be repurposed, we could do that without a lot of cost.
Is it an okay time for comments now, or?
There's
We
more
have
to
a bunch of
come.
other.
I have more slides.
Okay, comments
Yeah,
just
let's
on
go
this.
quickly through those.
I think.
Fully applaud the wellness room / mother's room as a working mom back in the day. Just thank you for having that. And also the all gender restroom, just applaud those.
Okay,
There's more.
All
Let's
right,
move
moving on.
quickly then,
There's more.
right?
So I'm gonna go quickly through our
Because-
inspirations. There they are, beautiful nature, soft textures. And then moving on to some of the finished selections. So these were due 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so the check marks are just showing where we are trying to use building standards, which is what the building has kind of pre-selected. So we're opting for building standards where we
Which are
can,
less expensive too.
which are less expensive. Okay, then some of our aspirations. So our ceiling aspirations to help with the acoustics are these acoustical clouds. With the main emphasis being on the boardroom and the lobby areas, since they also have kind of a bit of an architectural look and feel as well. A water and wind theme, so you can see this, oh man, that's one on that TV. The top picture is kind of the wind, and that would be over in the lobby area. And then these panels to show kind of the waves and water flowing
Super cool.
would be over the boardroom area. And that just helps with the sounds and the acoustics, especially as the meetings are being recorded. Okay, our lobby aspirations. So I believe Director Colson asked about the caterpillar over here. So when you first walk in the lobby, your view right now when you go in this space is down the emergency exit hallway. Not beautiful. So the architects had a plan to put a screen of some sort, perhaps wood, perhaps some other type of material, but a screen that kind of blocks your view, and to include branding on that screen. So if you notice, when you're in our space now, nowhere does it say that you are in Peninsula Clean Energy. It's just not in here. So it would be really nice to have kind of like the visual landing place when you walk into the space. And we have our new name, our new logo. These are not accurate. This is not it. This is I think you saw this at the meeting a long time ago. Sample of what that could look like. So that's what the caterpillar is. And then we also, so
I
down
think the
here.
caterpillar is the warm seating area, who's asking.
Oh, that
Couch.
caterpillar. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is
Yes.
sort of like some
Welcome lounge.
couch,
Yes,
we haven't picked the
yeah.
furniture, but some sort
Yeah.
of sitting area.
Yeah, this is lobby seating. Yeah,
Got
to
it.
be determined.
Got it.
The view when you walk in would be of the panel here. I guess I should have put WestLight also on this screen. And then there's offices behind it. And so putting a film over the glass that maybe looks like nature or something and kind of gives you a very nice view as you walk in. We also aspire up in the little map corner here to have some electrification displays. I know our programs team is very excited about that. And so potentially a hot water heater over here, a range, a mini split, other electrification technology, so that it's a place for people to reference, you know, like, oh, I like an induction range. What does that look like? What does that feel like? And we can invite them to come in and touch and see and feel. The hot water heater, I hear, has to be operational, so we're looking into how that can actually tie in and work.
Do we have a kitchen?
We do,
Break room.
yeah.
What's a mini split?
It's
HVAC.
yeah, it's a HVAC. It's the like the AC unit where you have the
Top.
top on the wall, and then it splits. It's like ductless HVAC, and it splits out to the condenser that's outside. I've learned a lot.
It's if you don't have central heating.
The break room is in here.
You put it in one room.
The break room
Like our
where?
house.
It's up here with these round tables and the island. And
Okay, and do
Is
we
that why
have,
we have it?
everything's, I take it
I don't
electrified
have
there.
it. I wish I did.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I mean, this is existing, you know, there's a
It will be.
maybe
Yes.
What's that?
electrified kitchen.
Oh, yeah. So can we get to the guiding principles, please?
Sure.
Because that is really where we're
Great.
containing our aspirations.
Okay.
Desking, just quick, Chair DeGolia asked about what's gonna be in the workspaces. There's option for these touchdown desks, for actual cubicles, and so we're working with staff to see how much space, how much storage they need, trying to determine the space and the amount of workspaces that will fit in within the area. So then managing costs. Nick, I think this is a great place for you
Yeah.
to take it away.
So we are gonna do the best we can, or we will be managing costs to keep the build out expenses manageable as possible. It's a current office, so they have a break room, they've got a bunch of walls, we're gonna try and use as much as we can. So the break room's a great example, we're not gonna replace probably every equipment, at least right away. We're also gonna keep as many walls as we can. As Nellie said, we're selecting the building standard finishes as much as we can to keep the cost down. That also, a lot of the more eccentric items have long lead times, so we have a really quick turnaround to build this out. We're gonna focus on sort of the must-do upgrades, so this floor has not been touched in think it's about 10 years, so there needs to be a fair amount of electrical and code upgrades. The bathrooms have not been touched in probably longer than that, so we're gonna be spending some money there. And then the boardroom is something that obviously that's a main driver of us moving. This room is really not meet our needs, so that movable wall is somewhat expensive, but we think it's important to be able to create both the all staff as well as the boardroom. We're gonna explore potentially reusing some of the furniture here. We'll see. Obviously, I would love to do that. It also minimizes landfill for equipment, but we also want to make sure the new place doesn't look, sort of using different types of furniture. So we'll see. Right now, we're going through an exercise with the contractor and our architect to value engineer the space. So see where we can potentially cut costs while maintaining functionality and aesthetics.
I wanna make, thank you for that.
Sure.
We've had a little bit of sticker shock. I think that's a fair thing to say. And so we had to get really real about this pretty quickly, and shift some of our thinking in terms of how we shop for lighting and things like that. So, I think it's fair to say we don't have the precise budget at this point, and we've had a request for a shower and other things that we're looking at, that if it can come in within range, we'll look at it. Tell me if I'm wrong here, Nick, but I think, we will be bringing to the board a budget this year that includes the build out. And we got somewhere around 850 to 900,000 in TI improvements. It's shocking how fast that goes with all the electric upgrades, and so I'm gonna flag that it's probably on the order of double that when you add the furniture and all the rest of it. So I'm easing you all in because we had a little hard time last week. And it's just the reality of it. So we're in the process of checking with JLL, like what's the average cost of, because this is not a new build. In some ways, that makes it a little more expensive.
Yes.
To retrofit stuff. So, we're getting data points so that when we bring it to the board, yes, it's gonna cost money. And yes, we've done our homework and we're adhering to doing everything we can to minimize that outlay.
Yeah, we're working on the dollar. We're trying to bring the dollars down. We will return to this committee in either May or June, depending on when we get enough information to come to you asking for
With the
approval.
budget, yeah.
And seek for approval for the build out above the $900,000 that the landlord is giving us. And then all the furniture and EV equipment. And so that will be coming back in a couple months, 2 months.
Director Fung?
What's the square foot again, Ryan?
10,500.
10,500. So 900,000 would be about
$90.
$90
Well,
a foot.
$85 to be exact, we got it.
$85 a foot. Double that would be $170 a foot.
Ish, yeah.
Yeah. For TI such as this. It's very good. But that's.
Sounds
Yeah.
like you have some experience, okay, good to know.
Yep, that's what it does for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the ballpark we're in. Just letting you all know.
Director Rasko?
One comment and one suggestion. The comment, I really appreciate watching the numbers, and if we came in and this was our board table and doesn't match other things, I think people will think, oh, good, we're saving money. So don't worry if it doesn't look perfect. That actually will go to our advantage, I think, of taking care of the dollars. And also don't want to micromanage, but just had a thought, so you can completely ignore this thought. But I know showers are super popular, but I also know sometimes companies give a wellness benefit, like $100 a month. So there are gyms right there. So maybe increasing that wellness benefit or encouraging people to do that, because it is one of the advantages of that location. You're right near a bunch of gyms. So might be better than trying to.
We are having that discussion internally.
Okay.
As we speak.
And we do, I don't know if, I thought we had shared this, we just started last quarter, we're doing a wellness benefit right now.
Yeah.
We give everyone
75.
$75 a quarter.
Yeah.
For their
A month.
gym membership, month, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Jeez, $75 a month of wellness benefit, so.
We're getting some pushback, but here's the truth of it. my current thinking on this is if the bathroom ad costs us $10,000 to $15,000 in a total budget. Let's look at it. We have staff who are very excited actually to ride their bike to Caltrain, put the bike on Caltrain. Ride the bike into the office, not go to the gym necessarily,
Mhm.
right? But they just want to be able to have that flexibility. If it's a fairly minimal add to the overall, if it's more like, I'm just being so transparent right now. If it's more like 20 to 25, probably not.
Yeah.
Right? So let's get
Just give me
through,
20.
we're still waiting on all the itemization of all these
Yeah.
different requirements. The thing is for us, the recommendation is if you're gonna do it now. Don't phase it in later because it would just be disruptive. So these are the little things that we're trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And we try to get to yes as much as we can within reason. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Director Nash.
I would just add, as you know, holding on to our staff is so important.
We're trying. It's just a function of like, if we can afford it, we'll do it, right? If you can't, then there are other options.
I have a couple things. Is there anything else from the group? So audio visual equipment, that could be very expensive. So is that included in this current price? Or that's something that's,
What current price are you referring to?
or just kind of what's being referred to as this is the current cost?
Sticker
Because
shock.
it's not listed on that and we just went through our audio visual and if you think construction costs are expensive, audio visual costs, all that equipment, I mean, these are great. The owls, but
Yeah.
just wanted to just ask that question, leave it there.
We haven't received the quote back on audiovisual equipment yet. However, we're still planning to reduce costs and reuse things as possible, right? That TV, hope you like it. It's coming with us. The cameras that we have, the Avro cameras, I know they have a pretty nice price tag on them. I'm not sure if we're planning a projector, but maybe if we are, although that guy, personal opinion, doesn't work well. The colors never show up. How many times has Roy had graphs where you cannot see the graph because the colors don't portray accurately, and I have played with those settings like crazy. But I think we're actually planning for a television as the main screen versus a projector. But equipment that we have, cameras in other offices as well. Bringing that as much as a cost saver, and then working with the partner who helped us value engineer this room. And so working with them in the future space where they.
The other thing you notice is that the color palette that we're going toward is not so different than what we have, right? The green, the natural woods. So that hopefully we can bring some of it forward. It'll just be fresher and hopefully more state of the art in terms of AV. So we're working on it. We will come back to this body with more detailed information, but we wanted to just at least share the progress that we've made so far.
Okay,
It's actually pretty fun.
I like it that you're thinking of reusing this furniture as much as you can.
Yeah.
It's good. You should.
Yeah.
It's good furniture.
public comment?
Thank you, Nellie and Nick.
Yes, thank you.
None in the room. I'm sorry, none online.
Not online, all right. Next topic, item 7, advancing the customer focused approach, voice of customer framework.
Yeah, so this is a really good continuation of the discussion we had earlier about the community feedback form, which is an integral part of our voice of customer approach this year. It's not included in these slides, but we already discussed it pretty well, but just this is the same theme. And of course, as you're familiar, we launched a voice of customer pilot last year with the community relations team, which is a fancy way of saying listening more to our customers and synthesizing what we hear in a more rigorous way and reporting out to the organization and hopefully acting on what we hear as well. So we're working with a consultant called Sea Change Institute, SCI. They work with a number of CCAs actually through Calpine, and they are experts on community engagement in energy. So they have this a framework for basically requests come in from the organization. We want to learn more about what certain customers think about solar, for example. And we'll figure out, okay, we'll make that a topic of the next community feedback forum. And now we have a whole bunch of data on that in terms of transcripts from the breakout groups. And then we'll go up to the analysis part, which is the next thing. I'm figuring out how to analyze those transcripts from some great breakout groups, and we'll figure that out with our consultants. And then we'll report out on that. So there's this continuous loop there. And then that and those reports will probably raise more questions, and then we'll have more requests, and then we'll go out and do it all again and learn even more and really hone in our offerings for our customers to be even stronger. So for the community relations, so actually this is a map of how we have customer insight come in from our various departments. The green check is next to the community relations team. We've got listening sessions like the community feedback forum, workshops, and focus groups that we do with our outreach grantees, major stakeholder meetings, listening to city staff at our RICAPS meetings. Event tabling is a great way to hear from community members that may not approach us any other way. Account services also gets a lot of customer input from the call center, from the chatbot, from the info app email. Marketing gets a lot of input in terms of heat maps on where are people clicking on our website. How are they using our website? Where are they? Which pages are they spending a lot of time on? Which pages are they dropping off of? That's really important information. Energy programs has trailing surveys for everybody who participates in our programs. They learn a lot about that also, but they also learn a lot about like at what point are people dropping off in the process. So that can tell us about some points as well. So we are looking at a way to work with all of our departments to synthesize this data in a more rigorous way and bring it together into some insights that we can apply across the bring together from across the organization and apply across the organization. Yeah, so we are working with the consultant on figuring out how we can bring all these types of data together in a so we've got a draft roadmap here. It's a little bit complicated because all the data is in different forms. And so we are working with our consultant right now to get a quote from them on a bigger project to bring basically all those data sets together into well, not together into one place, but to have ways to organize them and bring all the insights together. So during the pilot last year, it worked out really well. We figured out how to better analyze what we heard from the community, from tabling at community events, from our focus groups, from our workshops, our meetings, as we noticed earlier. We started getting better at our tabling events, the level of awareness of PCE. And so we have some results here from Q3. We're still tabulating Q4 because we had actually a great deal more data in Q4. We got better at collecting it, which means it takes more time to analyze it. But from Q3, we found that about 21% of our folks who came and talked with us demonstrated good awareness of PC. About 23% demonstrated some awareness, and 35% just demonstrated no awareness. And I think this is interesting also. We make a real effort on our team for language accessibility. So 67% of those interactions were in English and 32% were in Spanish. And it helps that 3 out of 4 of the community relations team members are bilingual in Spanish. But we have more to do in terms of language accessibility in Chinese and Tagalog. We're gathering insights more from workshops. I did one with a couple of our outreach grantees in Spanish, focusing on renters in South San Francisco. There are about 40 participants. I asked a question to people in the room before I presented, would you consider buying an electric car? 2 hands raised. After I did the presentation on all of the rebates and so on, 20 hands raised. So that's a quick way you can gather some data on what information moves people to from no consideration to the consideration stage. And so there's just, one of the things we brought away from that, that's our hypothesis, is there's just a lot more that needs to be done in terms of raising awareness about EVs in Spanish. Also, that participants identified a need for in-person multilingual help residents to apply for the various used EV rate programs. They're very generous if you can figure out how to apply for 4 different things. And some of these folks we spoke with just they liked the idea of the $16,000 toward a used EV, but got really overwhelmed with the idea of applying for 4 different government programs and really wanted more help with that. So that was interesting. And we're also synthesizing more of the insights we're hearing from our outreach grantees who are out in the community and doing a lot of great outreach for us, but also a lot of good listening for us in at least 5 different languages all over our service territory. So here's some direct quotes from El Concilio. We hear that from clients that received the rebate, it's difficult to find a bike that meets their budget from the e-bike program. From climate resilient communities, several community members have shared that bicycles, especially electric bicycles, are more efficient and convenient than cars, given the challenges of traffic and limited parking. Mr. Kassim mentioned that many residents we reach out to do not express in PCE services or do not qualify due to economic barriers, including lack of stable income or employment, inability to verify income, or lack of formal proof of residency. Since there's residents that rent rooms informally and therefore their names do not show up on the PG&E bill, and they cannot prove that they are on Fair and therefore they cannot qualify for our programs that require Fair as a qualification. So it's an interesting barrier for people who are just renting a room and kind of in overcrowded areas.
Just really quick, not per discussion right now, but can we table that and put a pin in it for a later discussion? To see if there's a way we can income. Instance,
Yeah, and we also asked our outreach grantees, how do power outages impact your constituents, especially those that don't own a single family home and don't have the option to put solar and batteries on their home? There was a big emphasis on the financial strain resulting from loss of refrigerated food. For families that are already, economically on the margin, if they lose a week's worth of shopping, then that's a big financial loss. It's also the physical discomfort, sickness, and mental health challenges from loss of heat, cooling, or lighting during extended outages. About medical concerns for those with life-sustaining devices, lack of internet or cell service, and for communities reliant on wells, lack of access to water because the pumps require electricity to bring water up your well. Yeah, so that's a selection of some of the insights that we're learning from our pilot, and we look forward to bringing in more insights as we finalize our Q4 report, and then more from the community relations team, and then later this year, incorporating more teams into those insights.
Yeah, but we have 10+ channels where we're bringing in data. And so we're just getting better and better at bringing that data in, analyzing it, and then figuring out how to share it to improve, how we show up in the community, how we market to them, how we design programs. So a lot of really good stuff.
I really want to appreciate that, Gwen, you and the whole team for bringing that to us. All of you because really what it is us just getting far more sophisticated about what we do with the information we learn. Because a lot of times before it was, just sort of word of mouth or, hey, I heard this comment at a community event in the park, so that must be extrapolated to mean that everybody feels that way. Well, sometimes, but not always. And so it's really just a much more sophisticated data set and application to what we're doing with it. So thank you guys for leaning into that, because I know it was a little bit of experimental and I think it's paying off.
Yeah, and the partnership with Sea Change has been great too, because they're a nonprofit and they're a partnership that comes through Calpine. And so they're, academics and market researchers and behavioral scientists that are working together with us and other CCAs on similar.
That's great. Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
I had just one question. For the people at a tabling event that have no idea what PCE is, what brings them to the table? Is it the bright raffle or what? Why do they come over?
Yeah, it's our spinning prize wheel.
Free stuff.
And their kids.
And the kids, it is a kid magnet. So the
Yes.
kids drag parents off there. There's prizes, they spin the wheel, makes a fabulous noise, there's colors going around. And then we'll pull out a brochure and talk to the parents.
Free stuff, food, and
Sunglasses. Yeah.
Fantastic.
any other, one more question?
What do you plan to do with all this information? And I guess what I worry about, especially when I read some of the reports and realize they're out there for the public, is with affordability so much front and center, how this seems like a lot of marketing jargon and a lot of just, if I worry that the public, if they start hearing this, all of that it seems like we're not focusing on our core mission and for just delivering energy, and that we're starting to sort of spin into consultant land.
And I'll say there's a
too
really
much.
big, oh, sorry. I was gonna say there's a really big focus on internal capacity building. And so I don't know if you want to speak to that, but they're, teaching us how to listen better actually is, part of the effort, and then helping us figure out where the silos are so that we can integrate, so that we just get better as we move into this kind of next chapter of like, how do we help businesses and homes decarbonize? We have to really understand what their challenges are, and we have to make sure we're not listening to just the loud 20% and really figuring out how to pull that information in from the quiet 80% of our customers, so that we are really putting things into language that is accessible to them. So I think some of the insights that Kirsten show you, like, we wouldn't necessarily get these otherwise, like without this sort of more thoughtful approach to how we really listen to customers.
Is this something where it's, for lack of a better word, like a training that will then stay with us, or is it something where we will continually gather data and then take it to a consultant to churn through it?
Yes, our consultants have done a number of trainings for us, and we do quite a lot of this. Most of this is in-house, so we run our own focus groups. We don't do consultants for that. Our consultants trained us up on some best practices, and we took that out to the field. We worked with the consultants reviewed our protocol for the community feedback forum, gave us some tips that helped, I think, everything go a little more smoothly. And because we did have so many focus breakout groups, one of them was staffed by one of the consultants, but the rest of them were all staffed by staff. I'll probably ask them for some advice on how to analyze the results, but then we'll do it in-house. So it is a lot of learning. And I think it is increasing our ability to address the affordability crisis fundamentally, because we are doing a better job at listening to customers that are feeling that affordability crisis and figuring out better ways that we can intervene, because we better understand what their pain points are.
That's great. I guess I've been so in awe of our staff and Gwen, what you've been doing with the marketing and all, and just feel like we've got so much outstanding expertise here that I am somewhat surprised that we keep doing more and more outside beyond what we're currently doing. And over the last month, I've had a couple residents, both some from challenging economic circumstances to pretty wealthy individuals, talk to me about, some of them have just electrified and they're seeing outrageous bills and they're panicking. And so the affordability is just front and center right now to me. So you'll hear me talk about it in the next.
I would really love to see us lean in, and I shared this with Philip and Raphael last week to thought leadership, and really, it's gonna be a major push to get electrification rates that benefit folks who have made that shift. It's no small matter, and we're in the, as I've said before, as much as we love everything we're doing, we're small potatoes in a big sea. But I think electrification rates, while complex, are something that we may be able to coalesce around as an industry to push on that, because you're right, it's all, and you've talked about that for years. The rates are really, at the end of the day, we can give them all kinds of rebates, we can help them get there, and then there has to be the truth that follows up, which is ongoing rate structure.
And I think one of the cases that we really are starting to push also is beyond the financial benefits, you're getting such great health benefits. Your family, the plan it is, but also individuals, families are getting tremendous health benefits from electrification. And so that's sort of the counter with
That helps
finance
helps the narrative.
still, it helps the narrative, but that the finances are still hitting hard.
With everything that you're doing, and I can echo what you're saying about from more affluent to lower economic strata. There's tremendous inertia out there. It's huge. And even though we have expanded customer service, and I say to people, you can call in, it's not getting there. Because even as much as I'll spend time and talk to specific people, they're just overwhelmed. I think ultimately, community-based forums sponsored by cities that bring in people who already have done this electric conversion, because then they're talking to their neighbors from experience. And I would do it by enrollment, literally, that if you want to be part of this, we're going to do this event. It's in your city, limited number of people. And it's that hand holding, because it's just too overwhelming. Everybody I talk to, and they end up, I say to them, well, did you call PCE? Did you do this? No, I just can't deal with it. It's too much. I don't know what I'm getting into. It's still there, still there. I hate to say that, but that's the challenge.
We know.
Everybody's so busy.
Yeah.
Everybody's so busy, right?
Everybody's
Right.
busy.
And everything's really expensive. People are hunkering
Right.
down and trying to figure out, hey, I'm gonna take care of my parents, I'm gonna take care of my kids, so it's really dynamic right now, and I want to express my appreciation that we're looking to find out what is being said in the communities. We have to seek it out, just like in our council meetings. Generally, we get the same people who go to these council meetings, right? Because they're in tune and that's what they like to do, which is great. But the majority of our residents are just focused on their lives and like, hey, how much is it gonna cost? And that's the concern, right?
Just one more thing to add is I also get residents then who start talking to their neighbors, and they'll end up talking to someone who put in massive electrification, big solar, and going, oh my God, it was so expensive. Oh, you're gonna have to change your electrical panel, and then it just negates it right there. And it doesn't apply to the person that was asking. And so that's another hurdle we have to overcome. You probably know this, but I mean, it's.
All right, Director Nash, and then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, and just following that, I guess it seems like we have so many big hurdles right in front of us that we know about, that some of this is sort of digging deeper, when to me, we should really be focusing on this, what's right in front of us, hitting us right now. I totally understand and support whatever you decide to do, especially as it gets to people that aren't being heard, who may not be able to access this as easily. And also, I think that, yes, please do it. I'm just, to me, have some warning that, let's not go too far into things to get us away from our just core, getting people
Yeah.
on board.
Yeah, and I think part of the effort this year is really more of an organizational initiative piece. It is how do we get our departments to work more closely and to really figure out how to take those like really actionable insights and then do them, you know, and a lot of that is happening, but yeah, it's breaking down the silos, making sure that we're seeing the same things so that we're better able to connect the dots across the organization. That's why it's one of our organizational goals.
And from the outside, it looks like you guys are doing such an amazing job and are so in tune with each other. And I wish all our cities could do this. It just, you look spectacular.
Want to take public comment on this? No, okay. Moving on to our last item, WestLight Energy Transition and Brand Development Update.
So I will go ahead and give a quick update on the agency's rebrand, and then I will hand it over to Kirsten G to talk about the brand identity. Starting with the why, this is in support of the agency's 2026 customer focus goals to continue evolving the ways that we reach and engage our customers, to expand brand awareness, build towards higher levels of customer participation and satisfaction, and then celebrate all that the organization has accomplished in its first decade of service. So just grounding us in the why. And we know, you know, as we've talked about a lot, the original name helped us understand or helped us communicate who we are and what we do, but it's hard to say, spell, and remember, often shortened into an acronym that was then hard to differentiate from PG&E. So we've gone through this naming process. We have WestLight Energy, the idea that it's easier to recall, more reflective of the entire service area and reflects the spirit and optimism of our efforts around progress and partnership as we're really focusing in the next decade on, you know, how do we decarbonize homes and businesses. So just reorienting us as to the why. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. This is truly a cross-departmental initiative. You know, it's touching IT systems, customer accounts, how we talk about ourselves, how we show up in the community. So really just want to acknowledge, you know, in terms of, you know, Kirsten G's team on marketing, Kirsten A's team on community relations, everything happening with legal and IT. Everyone has a piece of this, and we're working really hard to make sure that the things all line up so that when WestLight starts appearing in the wild, it's done in a way that really limits customer confusion and then really helps us to build onto that story of our 10 years of service and 10 years going forward. So no need to really dig into this slide. It's really just to show you like a lot of different teams own a lot of different pieces. What we're really heading towards is the day when we sort of flip the switch and we start operating as WestLight Energy as a business. So right now, and we're really going to nail down exact kind of dates and times, but it's late June, early July, you know, sort of that 1 week. And it seems like a really ideal one because it's the summer, it's the holidays, a lot of people are away, and it will really allow us to sort of turn on the email, the website, and start showing up in a way at a time when it's not going to be super disruptive. We make sure the systems and the processes are all in place. And then you start seeing us hitting the PG&E bills, and you start seeing the notifications and the press releases kind of right after the 4th of July.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What's the line item mean through that whole period for PG&E bill?
That's just the work that's been going on. And so essentially we needed to inform PG&E that we were going to start to appear on the bill in July. They need months on their end in order to tee it up and get it all set up. And so that's just indicating that they know that this is happening and they can start what they need to do in order for us to hit the bills in July.
It's crazy how many moving parts there are. How
Yes.
many, like 1,000 moving parts or something.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, we're managing this very closely, and you know, one of the project manager working with me on it was our original PCE marketing director, Dan Lieberman, who was then at Ava for 8 years and worked with them on their brand transition. So it's actually been a really helpful effort to have them helping us out on just managing this, and then Ava has been fantastic. They've done it, and so we get to see, oh, what would you have done differently, and you know, how would you? So we've learned a lot through their process as well.
I'm sorry, what's the third bar is Oka goes live?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I should have cleaned this up for your purposes. This is really just so you can see what we're looking at constantly as like, this is the critical path. These are the things that we have to do. And so there are a set of tasks that the IT team is working on in order to, when the email goes on and all of the various systems that we log into change, you know, Box, Zoom, all of that, like, how do we make that as easy for the team as possible when things switch over? And so IT is doing a lot of really great work to figure out how to make that the sort of back end operations as, you know, there's always going to be some pain, but how do we, you know,
It's a
Oka is
platform.
a single source sign-on,
Yeah,
so.
it's a platform.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just gonna make the whole thing, rather than having 20 knobs to turn, it all funnels into a single platform to, we hope, shift everything over without, seamlessly and without error, is the idea.
so again, for key dates, thinking about when we start hitting those customer bills in July. So I think you've seen this slide before. I showed it in June. It's essentially how we're thinking about this rollout in 4 phases. Phase 1, it's really the work behind the scenes to get the brand identity in place. We start notifying, you know, our partners late May. Talked about the agency roadshow, the community feedback forum. So in April, we'll still be in the community as Peninsula Clean Energy at various Earth Day events. We will be at the Cal CCA conference and we'll unveil the WestLight name there. 2 partners there. Phase 2, when we start showing up in the community, we are still in March and April, we're doing a ton of the strategy and planning around what those events really look like. So we'll have more for you soon there. But we've got a lot of really fun ideas that we're looking into. Maybe let's see. I think the one other thing I will say is just that we are thinking about a variety of ways that we can honor our PC champions, and you know, use storytelling and events to really sort of celebrate those first 10 years of service. So more to come on that.
Well, can you just define policy symposium?
Want me to do that?
You want to do that one?
It is a work in progress, but it is one of the, what we're calling a signature event to honor both the 10-year anniversary as well as unveil the new name. We're thinking about, it's either gonna, I don't think it'll be a full day, I think it's an afternoon at this point, where we bring together all of our key stakeholders, legislators, kind of thought leaders, hopefully you, all the board will come and talk about both what's happening sort of in the energy markets writ large, energy world trends, and then what's happening with PCE. So we don't have a set agenda as yet, likely to do it in the, is that room called the Skyline Room at the community college?
Fairlawn.
The Fairlawn Room. That fabulous room. And then we would have, the idea would be to be there for sunset, unveil WestLight,
Oh, wow.
and have a reception.
But we will have unveiled WestLight in the prior quarter.
Yep.
But that will be a content focused policy
Yes.
presentation. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
I like that
It's
idea a
also
lot.
us saying, you know, in a way, same great agency,
Right.
same thought leadership. We're gonna cement this, and oh, by the way, the sun is going down and we're here is WestLight. So it's just.
But I think
confirming
a
all.
big public exposure of very contemporary, what is happening in this electricity market from our perspective, because we've learned a lot
Yeah.
that I don't think has been broadly communicated. And I think particular, like, we went to this whole 24/7, you know, high targeted policy position, which was intelligent and not attainable. And we didn't understand
At the
that.
time.
No, well, it's not attainable because there's
Too
not,
expensive.
you don't have the clean energy available. But we didn't understand that, and how you go through that whole discussion of the electricity market is a really big thing that needs to happen, and I love it that we would do it as WestLight Energy. I think that's the right time for us to do it, and I think it needs to be done.
Okay, well, it's happening.
I'm glad.
On
I'm
East
glad.
Street.
I think it's
All right,
smart.
Leslie.
The chair, I think of that policy symposium as a bar bat mitzvah, quinceanera coming out, you know. Yes, we've told our councils about the name and it'll come out with the tech changes, but yeah, this is our.
Yes, all council members, all our member agencies, partners, legislators. As the agenda is further developed and we're working on it now, we'll bring it back to you, just so you can see, but likely to be, as I said, a half day. And then wrapped up with a reception, maybe a little bit of music. So yes, it is like a coming out party with a lot of content.
Director Mackin.
I don't know if you're familiar with Energy Switch. Have you seen that? KPJK, which is PBS out of, I don't know if they're Roanoke Park or Petaluma. They've done a whole series of different programs called Energy Switch with different industry leaders, national experts. I would invite them to this.
Yeah.
Because they've been that in depth. If you haven't checked it out, KPJK, and they have a sister station. I can't remember the letters.
Thank you. And in general, I think that's just triggering that we ought to really be mindful about our media strategy around the policies. Yeah, to just get as many eyeballs on it as we can.
And KPJK really was mostly North Bay, but they have now encompassed the entire Bay Area for their fundraising and their exposure. So they're overlapping KQED.
Cool. Look on right now. Yeah, I have one thing to add. Gwen, are you done? Are you finished?
Chris, I wanted to add something about.
I also want to use the May community feedback form, the next one, very strategically as a part of this process as well. To celebrate the Peninsula Clean Energy brand before we put it to bed with the volunteers who helped build up that brand over the years. There are a lot of folks who helped at the very beginning, teams of volunteers who went door to door in business districts and told businesses about Peninsula Clean Energy. And so I want to get those folks together, kind of a friends and family reunion at the community feedback forum in May. Still celebrate while we're Peninsula Clean Energy and warm those folks up for the transition, because I think those are the people most likely to maybe be a little hesitant about it. And so there'll be a nice reception. There'll be a mini beginning of a friends and family celebration in May before we make the official switch and then warm them up for the switch as well.
Yeah, so we would encourage you to come.
Yes.
That, and can you make sure that's on? Yes. I'll go to that for sure. Thank you.
Oh, and then we were gonna hand it on to Kirsten to talk about the brand identity.
Perfect.
Did you wanna
I'll
add
finish
something?
up. Nope, I'll do it at the end.
All right. Kirsten.
Cool, thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kirsten Groom, the Associate Director of Marketing. Since joining PCE in late 2024, I've been working very closely with Gwen on the organization's rebrand, including launching a new website and supporting the naming process that resulted in WestLight Energy. So today I'll show where we are in the next phase of that journey, developing the visual identity and messaging strategy that will bring WestLight to life. We would like to thank our marketing working group, including Director Dugan, who's online, Director Mackin, Chair Medina, and Director Nash, who are also on this committee, for their support and commitment to this really important project. It's really exciting. So to support this work, we have partnered with Owen, an agency that specializes in brand strategy and website development. Owen has worked with a wide variety of organizations, ranging from nonprofits to large global companies. You can see a few examples of their clients here. For WestLight Energy, Owen's role includes developing the visual identity, so our new logo, typography, color palette, and our tagline, as well as helping us apply that brand throughout the website. There we go. So as we all know, PCE is a highly effective local clean energy provider. However, our impact is currently limited by low awareness and customer confusion, particularly around the difference between us and PG&E. So this rebrand is a real opportunity to address that challenge while maintaining the trust that we have built as an organization. So the new brand must accomplish several things simultaneously. It must reassure our existing customers, build trust with communities who may not know us yet, maintain credibility with policymakers and partners, and make it easier for customers to engage with our programs. So with this new brand, WestLight Energy will help illuminate the path forward for our different communities. We aim to make clean energy easier to understand, provide customers with simple pathways to take action, and support a cleaner and healthier future where everyone benefits. As part of their discovery process, Owen reviewed our existing brand strategy and conducted a wide variety of stakeholder interviews, including with staff, some board members, and our CBO partners. From that work, they identified 5 key audience segments, which you can see here. And for each group, they've mapped out their motivations, concerns, and the actions that we ultimately want them to take. Understanding these audiences allows us to build a brand voice and messaging strategy that allows us to connect with people where they are rather than speaking to everyone in the same way. So based on those insights, Owen developed a messaging strategy for us and a tone framework for WestLight. So this framework defines the boundary of our voice, how we communicate consistently across audiences while still allowing flexibility. The goal is to ensure our messaging remains clear, trustworthy, and accessible, while also being adaptable depending on who we're speaking to and where. Wonderful. So every brand voice includes a range of tones, and Owen's mapped out how we can speak to our WestLight audiences in different ways. So we've identified 3 primary messaging voices. First, you can see at the top there is the Clean Energy Illuminator, which focuses on who we are and what we do. This voice is community-oriented, trustworthy, and approachable. Second is the Trusted Navigator, which helps customers understand their options and find the right solutions. This voice emphasizes transparency, reliability, and strategy. And third is the Mission-Driven Changemaker, which highlights the broader impact of our work and our role in advancing the clean energy future. This voice is optimistic, future-forward, and pace-setting. So together, these voices give us the flexibility to connect with our different audiences while maintaining a consistent brand identity. And you can see our 5 audiences mapped out here and how the voice and tone shifts slightly depending on who we are speaking to. So as we know, customers rarely move directly from awareness to action. Instead, trust develops in stages. So this messaging framework provides a clear structure for communications that guide people towards engaging with our programs. This clear structure reflects real customer journeys, their questions, their hesitations, and their decision-making processes. So Owen has created a specific framework for each of 5 audiences to create an easy-to-follow system for messaging that moves our audiences from awareness to action, which is ultimately the goal. So that's the messaging strategy side. On the visual side of the brand identity development, Owen has a set of experience goals. So these function as evaluation criteria for potential design directions, similar to the creative framework that Lexicon used during the naming process. These are the North Stars that help ensure that every design direction that we pursue supports the goals of the rebrand. So here you can see a summary of our brand experience goals. Once again, those North Stars. These goals focus on the overall feeling and function of the WestLight brand. They include ensuring that the brand meets audiences where they are, communicating in ways that are inclusive, multicultural, and accessible, and consistently connecting back to our mission. And another key objective is striking that right balance between looking professional and credible while still reflecting our role as a public agency. Okay, and timeline. So we are already well underway in this process of developing the new visual identity and tagline. Owen began their discovery phase in January, and they have since then been working hard at work on the brand development. Just last week, they presented to our marketing working group a first round of logos and tagline concepts. And right now they're working towards an early May deadline for the complete West brand guidelines. So very exciting, very quick, and we are making really great progress. So following the delivery of those brand guidelines, we'll then apply that branding across all collateral materials and update the website in preparation for the public launch, which, as Gwen was saying, will likely be late June or late July. And that will also support our brand awareness campaigns that will start this fall. So I'll pause here for a moment. If there's any members of our marketing working group who wanted to chime in with any thoughts or comments on the process so far of working on the rebranding with Owen, I'll give some space for that.
All I can say is if you could see what we looked at in marketing, it was so exciting and dazzling. And if you think a first meeting would be just very basic concepts, it was already so advanced. They've done so much work. We're starting to see things already taking shape. And I'm gonna speak for John Dugan, who's listening, because John is an integral part of our marketing group. And John gives us lots of input. We're really excited. I'm just thrilled to be part of this and see it unfold. And honestly, they are first-rate outfit. They are obviously a great choice. They've put so much together already. It's really impressive. I wish I could say more.
Any other questions, comments at this point?
Okay, wonderful.
Rick has something.
Can you go back 2 slides?
2 slides there.
No, one back before,
One more.
yeah, that slide.
Yeah.
So in the trusted navigator area, you have, I have a hard time reading that. Service seekers, homeowners, and service seekers, renters, and business. Is having renters and business in the same category? Does that mean that with respect to this whole transition, they're treated the same or similarly?
It's more about a positioning of messaging and how we're framing it. So because homeowners are able to make certain changes and have agency in certain areas that renters don't have that same amount, that's where that distinction is. We're not necessarily grouping renters and business owners together. It's again more like the positioning and tone. So in as far as wanting to be that trusted navigator, again, that kind of future setting voice, that works a little bit more strongly with the renters.
So yeah, so my question, I mean, I'm looking at it, it's showing 2 categories, but it's really 3 categories. Because renters and business, I understand the difference between renters and homeowners. They're definitely different.
Yeah. Well, I think one important thing to mention too is we've distilled our wide variety of segments and audiences down to a kind of core 5, right? So obviously we can parse this out much more in a much more detailed way, but really to kind of have us start with that structure and that framework to begin the messaging. We then wanted to outline it. You can see we have kind of customers with low awareness, people who are seeking services, and returnees of sorts. And then there's those nuances of homeowner, renter, and business owner beneath it. But you do make a great point that there is a lot of nuance, but just to have, and rather than getting inundated with segmentation, really starting to start with those core 5 groups, and then the tones and voices and for messaging that fit.
And one reason that makes sense to me is a lot of business owners are renters of their space. Especially small and medium-sized vendors.
Probably true.
They don't own their.
They don't have the
building,
same
so again,
agency.
They don't have that kind of agency to switch out their major appliances, so they are commercial renters.
Sure.
If you don't mind, because we're almost at time.
Yes.
I want to shift a little bit to logistics, make sure that the executive committee is on board with what we're thinking. Because as you've seen, and I do want to say hats off, you guys have accelerated this process. And they're not, hopefully you're not breaking down in the meantime, but we're working quickly and it's exciting. The bogey that just for me mentally is sort of in my mind is Cal CCA. That'll be sort of our first big 1,000 people in the room. Conference, yep. And so I'm working in my mind backwards from some of that when we unveil that, and that's May 12th. And so the plan between now and the April board meeting, because that would be at the end of April. And so Gwen, I'm gonna look at you to make sure I'm getting this right. Would be that the marketing committee will continue to meet, I think once or twice more, maybe more than that. And that we would bring back the pretty baked and maybe finalist brand logo, tagline, visual identity that Gwen is a person talking about at the April executive committee, April 13th. So next meeting is important. I think probably in person, right? So we can really touch and feel things. With the idea then that we would have a recommendation. Maybe there might be a few refinements that happen with the marketing working group, but that for that April board meeting, which is the 23rd, that it would be the unveil at the April board meeting, rather than having a 23-member board pick apart this color and that line and that font. Really honoring the process that's gone before with the marketing working group, acting as a proxy of sorts, then the executive committee making a choice, then unveiling it at the board meeting. I just want to make sure that that is okay with you all. So it won't be an action, I mean, it might be an action item to just adopt the whole package, but not like a big discussion and going back and redoing things, because we just don't have the time.
Yeah, that's good.
So I just want to make sure that's okay, everybody.
We don't have any choice.
I agree with that. And
But I presented it, so.
yes, but, and
Yeah.
I think the way it was presented with the name change also was so helpful. So just keep that up where you talked about, why we changed the name and, you know, you might not like it at first and all that way before even the committee had the names. Just trust the process. So when it gets down to fonts and you guys are the experts, the committee's the experts on ADA accessibility and all of that for fonts. So just a reminder before coming to us and before the full board of the expertise is already weighed in. So I think it's a respectful way of saying, please don't comment on the font.
And also using the executive committee for the purpose that you all have, which is, we've done a ton today, which is you're really here focused on the operations of the agency. The board is much bigger policy matters. So we felt like that would be a comfortable place to land, given the timeline that we're all in. Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay. Public comment? None, okay, fantastic. So we are past noon and
The meeting for reports is our last item.
yes, it is. Looking down, anybody have anything? Okay,
All right.
thank you all for attending. We'll see you next time.
Good job.
Thanks, everybody.
Good job, Marty.